almost wasted, and my drip is on the spaceship. One more sip, yes, I can taste it. Come to my exact location. I'm so tired of my probation, doing time for revocations. I just toasted this occasion to give myself standing ovations. What I'm drinking, that brown, that white, with the bar sirs, that ass is attracted like a magnet. I never dodge her, I drink my problems away, and that alcohol is my sponsor, and I will indulge you to the point of death. That's only if my heart hurts, cause relationships never last, and being faithful is a thing of the past. Everybody's only after one thing. Both sexes can relate to that, can replace the fat when they hit it from the back. Get your face in my pillow in the palm of your ass. Yeah, I graduated from the bottom of my class, now I'm sitting at the top, you see the bottom of my glass. We can keep talking, I know that's where we're headed. It's my train of thought, it's so terrible to be embedded. Did I mean it? Only if I said it. Remember her face, I normally forget it. Get it, hit it, quit it. Send it on the way, package, shipment. It's hard to react if your heart ain't attached. Acting like it ain't love, you be calling her back. Wake up in the morning next to an empty bottle. Wonder what she said that made you really wanna follow. Words come out, I know I'm drunk. Somebody send me another one. Oh shit. It's Liddy.
Everything is on me, she pull up in the X, I took off in the Z. Put all of my dogs on their feet, now they stand on their two, took them off of the leash. Heard your dog bit the cheese, it cost nothing to get in the talk, it was cheap. Double out Phantom, 3,500 my Dana. All my bitches are trophies, I hang them all in a mantle. She got a toe like a camel, keeping it wax like a candle. Now fucking her random, said it is sweet, and I want to sample. Nail her to this bed when I whip out this hammer. She be my vice when I handle the smoke. Have my dick in her mouth for my pants at the flow. She know it ain't sweet 30, hang out the stick. It be long as it let make a stand by the door. Yeah, she like my 40, she hang on my hip. Shorty's nature is naughty, she think about this. Should've watched all the words before they came out your lips. We gon' choke till we blue in the face like a crick. Caught your bitch out there, hey, that's a pick on. Treat your hair like the deal that you signed, get it ripped off. Still gonna make the bitch jump like a tip off. If it's up, it's gon' stay in the air like a kick off. Acrobat dope, it gon' flip off the stove. NBA with these hoes, when I pick them, they roll. Headshot, leaving shit all on the road. The trunk full of bitches and all of them go. Said a man couldn't get what she needs, so the fall's the best time to leave. Everything is on me, she pull up in the X, I took off in the Z. Put all of my dogs on their feet, now they stand on their two, took them off of the leash. Heard your dog with the cheese, it was nothing to get on the talk, it was cheap. Say he stand on the business, let's sit him down. Shit, we gon' land in the day, then we send him out. He double back for the work, that's an end around. He do not keep all that here, let's go in the town. Open the trunk in a minute. Duffel bag look like it's stuffed with a midget. Double up 44 bricks, cause the last time we ran through the 22 bursts like he Emmett. Got the digital scales for the digits. Grease on the pass, can I smell what it's in it? We spin it at midnight, he can't tell who hit him. And diamonds ain't sticking, can't tell if he missing. Get the Russian like it's coffee. If I make a call, they flying in like rockets. Houston, Texas, T, it got me flick the wrist. I whip it still up all like hard. Counting numbers like a mathematician. All the birds is jumping out the magic kitchen. Trappers get it, keep the ratchet with me. We gon' drag them stripping down in Magic City. She get the geek and start to tweak it, really feed the dick until she overdose. Coast to coast where the money goes. Up and down when she on the pole. Said a man couldn't get what she needs, so the fall's the best on the league. Right now, everything is on me. She pull up in the X, I took off in.
What it is, what it do. We are back for another one. And today, I know I had other business to tend to about other reactions. But today, I have to comment on this because I'll be honest with you. I cannot sit and watch this. It's sickening. Now, first of all, those who don't know me, my name is Thomas Legacy. I am sorry about that. I am not a lawyer. I am not a tax preparer. I am someone who's done damn near 10 years of exhaustive research and study of this government, taxes, the acts of Congress that established this tax system, acts of Congress that established this monetary system, the the economics of it, rules, regulations, Supreme Court holdings, state, local ordinances, statutory law, principles of equity, and everything in between. I am not a I'm tax protester. I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm not anyone that comes with pipe dreams and trying to tell you what you want to hear or discredit anyone. Everything that I'm talking about, I can show black and white. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's my email, thomaslegacy603@gmail.com. Also, follow the channel, like, share, subscribe, become a member. You're going to see all the facts, all the data, all the statistics, black and white facts. I have results. I have proof. And upon this video, you want to know more? You want to learn how to properly file your taxes, how to properly account for the income, what's reportable, what's not, what's taxable, what's not. You want to do things the proper way, you can reach out to me. Now, today's reaction is going to be with from Wilson, Rogers and Company, Inc. So, this is going to be a very good feed for the simple fact that, oh yeah, let's pull it right on up.
If you're looking for an example of how to file a tax return with
not yet. So, this is what we're going to do. We are going to react to this gentleman for the simple fact that I don't believe that he is showing people. I don't believe that he's purposely misleading people. I don't believe that he purposely wants to send people up what I call Schitt's Creek. But his teaching is the reason why many of people who otherwise income is not taxable remains taxable. So, before we get started on that, we are going to, what I'm going to do is I am going to pull up a few things just to get a backdrop on why this fellow is wrong. Now, I'm not going to say he's all the way wrong, because what he's talking about applies to maybe 2% of the world. 2%. Now, with regards to the actual black and white proof to back it up, I am going to show you, and I'm going to, for anyone that hits me in the email, wants to get the services, wants to know more, I will show you black and white facts as what he is saying is wrong. As a matter of fact, have it on my phone here, so I'll be discrediting as I go. So without further ado, let's see what this fellow is talking about. Start from the beginning here. and let's go. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
If you're looking for an example of how to file a tax return when self-employed, then look no further. In this video, we're going to do just that so that you can file an accurate self-employed tax return. Welcome to Tax Chit Chat, the place where we talk all things tax all the time. In our last video about how a business is taxed, we said that we walked through how a sole proprietor, self-employed, or single member LLC owner would file their taxes on Schedule C. And guess what? This is that video. So the example tax return that we're going to look at is one for a rideshare driver. You know, someone driving for Uber, Lyft, or any one of those platforms. Now, don't worry. It doesn't matter if you operate some other type of business. Everything that we go over in this tax return will work exactly the same if you do something else. You're just potentially going to have more deductible expenses than in this example. In the description of this video is a link to that sample return. We suggest that you download it and even print it out so that you have it handy while we go through this video. And when you're done watching it, you can check out the blog post that has this example in it, which is also linked in the description below. So let's get to it. So if we look up at the top, we will see that the individual that we're filing for is using the filing status of single. The individual is going to list their name. So we have Memphis Reigns. Now, if you don't know who Memphis Reigns is, I suggest you go back and watch the video going in 60 seconds. So basically what happened was when I created the blog post back in 2015, I thought it'd be cool to have Memphis Reigns be a rideshare driver. I'm like, dude, what would that look like with a Shelby GT 500, being a Lyft, vehicle? What can I say? I've got a very active imagination, folks. So he's going to go ahead and list his address. And then what we'll see for 2022, they're going to ask you about digital assets. So this is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, any type of virtual asset. If you don't, then you'll just simply check no. So as we go through the 1040, we can see right here on line number 8, it says other income, and it's coming from Schedule 1.
Right there. Right there. Right there. Bam. Right there. Right there. Ain't take far. Right there is where 98% of the people in this world gets led up Schitt's Creek. Right there. Right there. Like, really, I don't even have to go any further. Now, let's explain. Let's get some full. Let me explain something. Now, if you look right here, right, it's going to show other business income or loss attached Schedule C. He has $44,083. Okay? $44,083. That's what he has shown right there. The first question is, what type of income is he reporting? Now, let's go rideshare. Let's go say rideshare, DoorDash. Let's just stick with that because that's the example he used. The number one problem with people in America today is they automatically assume that they are taxed on the income itself without any regard to the source of the income. Meaning, by law, is the income reported taxable? Is it taxable? Is the income he's reported, is it required to be reported as taxable income by Congress, by law? Now, before we get to me discrediting this, I'm going to tell you this. 98% of everybody's income, whether you're self-employed or not, is non-taxable because it is not a job where you needed a government privilege or a grant. It is not any job that you had to get permission from the federal government before you got the job or started your business. you are a private sector employer and employee, meaning, and I want everybody to do your research on what is a excise. The only way that $44,083 is reported on a Schedule C is if that income was subject to a government grant or an excise. A ride share, just like the example he used, is not a government grant or privilege, so it is not taxable under the income excise tax laws. So what we have here is, as you can see, the congressional record. I have the congressional record on my phone. And this is House record, congressional record, March 27th. And this is United States of America congressional record, proceedings and debates of the 78th Congress, first session, volume 89, part 2, March 2nd, 1943 to April 5th, 1943. Pages 1459 to 2940. And yes, I read all of it. And yes, it was boring as hell. Says, the 16th Amendment authorizes the taxation of income from whatever sources derived, thus taking in investment income without apportionment among the several states. The Supreme Court has held that the 16th Amendment did not extend the taxing power of the United States to new or expected subjects, but merely remove the necessity which might otherwise exist for an apportionment among the states of taxes laid on income, whether it be derived from one source or another. So the amendment made it possible to bring investment income within the scope of a general income tax law, but did not change the character of the tax. It is still the income. It is still fundamentally an excise or duty with respect to the privilege of carrying on any activity or owning any property which produces income. The income tax is, therefore, not a tax on income as such. Right there. But he was reporting that like you have to pay taxes just because you have income. The Congress, which makes the laws, taxing laws. The income tax is not a tax on income as such. It is an excise tax with respect to certain activities, meaning certain jobs and privileges, which is measured by reference to the income which they produce. Meaning, income taxes, number one, it has to be regarded an excise, meaning limited jobs are considered excise. You're selling alcohol, you're manufacturing tobacco, alcohol, firearms. Anytime you need a government grant of a privilege or a government license to have that job, if you don't have any of that, you don't owe taxes. And I have over 200,000 cases where people who had erroneous income federal taxes withheld by either sending them to the IRS as an employer or the employee, erroneous income taxes, Social Security and Medicaid taxes, refunded back to them. I got black and white facts. And those of you know me, you know I don't do any capping. Sorry about that. So, the income is not the subject of the tax. It is the basis for determining the amount of the tax. So right here, this brother right here has this person putting $44,083 down just because it's income itself. There's no reference to, well, what type of income did he have? Is this income taxable under the laws of the United States? And this is what I mean by these CPAs. This is what I mean by these CPAs. They don't really teach you the full game, because the game is not meant for you to win if you don't understand what's really going on. So with that being said, this right here, $44,083, if I was advising, and I'm not a lawyer, that would be zero, because I don't have income that's taxable. So now that we've established that Congress has established that the income tax is an excise tax, and that the income itself is not the subject of the tax, but rather the source of the income is where the tax is derived from, not just because you got income. In the landmark case, the Supreme Court case, is the Brushaber ruling. Brushaber, the Brushaber ruling, Supreme Court case, 1916. And their opinion in this case, woo! So this brother right here already got 98% of business owners in America sending their sales up Schitt's Creek. So now let me go back to it. This is Congress. The income tax is, therefore, not a tax on income as such, as this brother right here will have people to believe by putting $44,083 as income. It is an excise tax with respect to certain activities and privileges, which is measured by reference to the income which they produce. So what is the definition of an excise? And once again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a person who has spent years and have studied this stuff. So the excise taxes are taxes levied on specific goods or services like fuel, tobacco, and alcohol. They are primarily taxes that must be paid by businesses, usually increasing prices for consumers indirectly. So they're letting you know that when they raise the tax, they pass the taxes off on us as an indirect tax. So if I had a business and the government raised taxes on my, let's say, tobacco by $100, or let's say not by $50, I will raise my products to cover that $50. So I will pass that tax on to the consumers, which is called an indirect tax. So this is an excise tax. So the brother, let me ask you a question. The brother, you never mentioned that this is applying to employers or self-employed people who sell tobacco, sell alcohol, sell firearm, sell fuel. You're talking about DoorDash. It's not an excise. And I have multiple Supreme Court cases that says taxes on income from jobs that are a common right is not taxable. You can't tax it. So if you have a job or you're self-employed that is not an excise, one of the limited categories for the income taxes, and you have a job as a common right to take care of your family, is not taxable. So why do you think the United States government declares taxes as a voluntary tax? Huh? Oh, I got black and white facts. So anyone that wants to comment after this and discredit, I got black and white facts, like black and white. So, with that being said, the brother, because you still are my brother. You still are my brother. Let's continue.
So we can see on Schedule 1, line 3, it says business income or loss attached Schedule C. So let's go to the Schedule C, which is the meat and potatoes of this whole video. All right. So Schedule C is used by individuals who are trying to report the profit or loss that they have from a business. Okay. So it says right there, sole proprietorship. Now, sole proprietors are going to be any business activity that is performed.
Once again, I'm sorry. I want to let this go through, but once again, number one thing he got wrong. He has them putting the cash basis method of accounting. 98% of CPAs always has their clients using the cash basis method of accounting, which it's not profitable for most self-employed business owners. Thomas Legacy, what are you talking about? Well, let's see what's the difference between cash basis and the accrual method of accounting. By the way, I'm a business owner myself. I use the accrual method because it is just so much profitable. So, what's the difference between cash basis accounting and accrual basis accounting? I already know the difference. I'm just doing that so you all can, Okay, so what do they have? Let's go Investopedia. Let's scroll down. Okay. Let's see if we can. Yep, I think we can do it from here. Okay, so the main difference between accrual and cash basis accounting lies in the timing of when revenue and expenses are recognized. The cash method provides an immediate recognition of revenue expenses, while the accrual method focuses on anticipated revenue expenses. Basically, let me give you an example. If I'm with Bob's Rideshare and he owes me $100, right? And he pays me that $100. Under the cash basis method, I'm going to count that income when he pays it. Under the accrual method, regardless if Bob paid me the $100 yet, I still count that income, that $100 as income. Now, expenses. You write your expenses off under the cash basis once you actually made the payment. But you can write your expenses off under the accrual method once it's incurred, regardless if you paid it or not. Those are big differences. But let's go down. Key takeaways. The accrual accounting records revenue and expenses when transactions occur, but before money is received or dispensed. Cash basis accounting records revenue and expenses when cash related to those transactions is actually received or dispensed. Accrual accounting provides a more accurate view of a company's health by including accounts payable and accounts receivable. The accrual method is the more commonly used method by large companies, especially by public traded companies, as it smooths out earnings over time. the cash basis is generally used by sole proprietors or smaller businesses. So let me ask you this. Why do you think if you want to get paid like a major corporation, you need to use accounting as the major corporations. Want to know why? Because you can write off more expenses and debt and take more losses once you show that you are due the money but haven't been paid. See, you can decrease your taxes by big depreciations just by using the accrual method accounting. But the brother, hold on, let's go here. The brother has you doing what? You see that? Cash method of accounting. Brother, I really thought you were a CPA. I mean, you got your tie on, you just got the whole background. And I'm like, brother, this is wrong. You're sending people up Schitt's Creek. I've owed no taxes for my business 2 years in a row, 0 taxes by taking depreciations for, I think it's 4562 depreciations, because I take my personal property and put it in service of my business. So just the fact, let's say you had a vehicle, the IRS gives you standard mileage use for your vehicles. In 2022, I had no taxes because I had a depreciation of 240,000 plus miles used. 116,000 miles used on my vehicle, which came up to over 200 grand in deductions and depreciation I was allowed to take. And guess what? This was just using the standard method. So the IRS asked no questions or asked for any proof. But once again, let's get back to the accrual method of accounting versus. So under the accrual accounting, revenue is accounted for when it is earned. Unlike the cash method, the accrual method records revenue when a product or service is delivered to a customer with the expectation that money will be paid in the future. In other words, money is accounted for before it's received. Likewise, expenses for goods and services are recorded before any cash is paid out for them. Cash basis of accounting. Under cash basis accounting, revenue is reported on the income statement only when cash is received. Expenses are recorded only when cash is paid out. The cash method is typically used by small businesses and for personal finance. Key differences. The accrual method records accounts receivables and payables, and as a result, can provide a more accurate picture of the profitability of a company, particularly in the long term. So if I had a contract that pays me $100,000, right? And I have expenses that, let's say, that matches the $100,000. I can, and I haven't paid either yet. I just got the contract. I can write both off so that the expense writes off the income. Now, in a future year, when I actually receive the payment, then I will adjust the income in the next year. But yeah, that's how it works. Why do you think the big businesses get all these tax breaks and write-offs, while this cash-based method of accounting leaves you stuck paying taxes every year? Now, let's continue. We are our own boss. So why are you teaching them to be a slave? But it doesn't matter. Want to know why it doesn't matter? Because regardless, 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 the income, whether it's from your job, take it back, taxes is not taxable just because you have a job. It is the source of your income, meaning your job has to relate to an excise order for it to be taxable. So all that should be zeros. All that should be zeros. You know what? Let me show you. All right. So everybody that ever had a notice or a levy on your bank account for taxes, right? A levy on your bank account for taxes. And the IRS levied a bank account and garnished your wages because of income taxes. They sent that form 668W to, I think, your financial institution or your employer, and they start garnishing in your wages. And yes, I've helped people get all of those erroneous and levies refunded back plus interest. Once again, I have the black and white proof. Those of you with the Thomas Legacy Supreme Elite team, you already know. Now, let's go to this is, once again, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a real document. It's on my phone. I'm going to read. Internal Revenue Service, Mid-Atlantic region, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is from December 12th, 1995. It says, Dear Miss, not going to say the name, this is in response to your Privacy Act request dated December 12th, 1995. The Internal Revenue Code is not positive law. It is special law. It applies to special purpose it applies to specific persons in the United States who choose to make themselves subject to the requirements of the special laws in the Internal Revenue Code by entering into an employment agreement within the United States. Remember, taxes are voluntary. The tax system is predicated on voluntary compliance. So when it says those who choose to make themselves subject to the requirements under the Internal Revenue Code by entering into an employment agreement within the United States government, that means if you decide to have a business that requires a government grant or privilege, if you decide to sell alcohol, tobacco, firearms, gasoline, oil, manufacturing these things, when you need a government privilege, then you pay income excise taxes. If your job, your self-employment is not that, then you are not to be reporting any taxable income. This is what they're saying. The Internal Revenue Code is not positive law. It is special law. It applies to specific persons in the United States who choose to make themselves subject to the requirements of the special laws in the Internal Revenue Code by entering into an employment agreement within the U.S. government. That's not Bob's ride-sharing company. You don't need a government grant for that. So all your income should be zero taxable income. But it's the mindset that gets you to believe, and it's people like him that keeps you in this perpetual state of voluntary compliance when there's no requirement for you to pay taxes in the beginning. Y'all give me 1 second. Once again, let me finish. The law is that income from sources not effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States government is not subject to any tax under Subtitle A of the Internal Revenue Code. This concludes our response to your request. Sincerely yours, Cynthia J. Mills, Disclosure Officer. So I'm telling you, it's what I'm telling you. If it's not within those specific excises, and I got the receipts to show. So for those of you who received a levy from your bank, please reach out to Thomas Legacy 603@gmail.com. I do offer those services, and I will help you, assist you getting your levy removed and a full refund of all erroneously levied wages and taxes and interest and penalties that came along with it. Now, while we're here, I'm just trying to look for that document. I will find it. Here we go. Reach out to Thomas Legacy 603 if you want help filing your taxes correctly. And if you want to correct the record so you can receive a refund of the withheld federal income taxes, Social Security taxes, Medicaid taxes. They say you can go back 3 years, but I'll go back since the time you started working. And yes, I have receipts to show where people receive upwards of 50,000, 60,000, 40,000 checks for the erroneously withheld because the income was not taxable under the United States Internal Revenue Code's income excise tax laws. It's not taxable. And I got the congressional records. I got Congress's own mouths. Hell, you just heard me read that's from the IRS, disclosure officer. I know my stuff, y'all. I'm not sitting here blowing smoke up your ass. I just don't like to see stuff like this because this is what keep people enslaved. You coming in with your suit and tie. He went to school. I never went to school. I'm self-taught. Why aren't you teaching people this, brother? So, watch this. Congress of the United States, January 24, 2005. You probably can't see it. Says here, dear Mr. I ain't gonna say the name. Thank you for contacting me with a question regarding your troubles with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. While responding as best I can, please understand that I am not giving any legal advice. I would strongly advise you seek counsel on this matter. U.S. Code Title 26, Subtitle F, Chapter 64, Subpart D, Part 2, Section 6331A states, if any person liable to pay any tax neglects or refuses to pay the same within 10 days after notice and demand, it shall be lawful for the secretary to collect such tax, and such further sum shall be sufficient to cover the expenses of the levy. By levy upon all property and rights to property, except such property as is exempt under sections 6334. Now, you notice how they use property, but we all know they're garnishing their wages, their money. See, the government knows there's no real money. That's why what you think is money, it's called property. You notice they ain't never say your bank account, your money. It says property. So anytime they send this, the notice of levy and distraint to your financial institution, you know they taking out your currency, putting a restraint on that, but they call it property. It's not money. By levy upon all property and rights to property belonging to such persons, or on which there is a lien provided in this chapter for the payment of such tax. Levy may be made upon the accrued. Now, listen here. This is all the instances where the levy can be issued upon. These are the instances. Levy may be made upon the accrued salary or wages of any officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of the United States or the District of Columbia by serving a notice of levy on the employer as defined in Section 3401D of such officer, employer, or elected official. That's not talking about a private sector individual, a self-employed individual. See, you got to pay attention to the words they use. If the secretary makes a finding that the collection of such tax is in jeopardy, notice and demand for immediate payment of such tax shall be made by the secretary, and upon the failure or refusal to pay such tax, collection thereof by levy shall be lawful without regard to the 10-day period provided in this section. Listen here at the bottom. This particular provision does not appear to extend to private sector employees. This is from the Congress. If a form was given to an employer that omitted Section A, this form could be considered misleading. I hope that this is helpful to you. Again, you may wish to seek help from an attorney or tax professional. So, E. Clay Shaw, remember, he was telling them, like, yo, he said, I can't give you no legal advice, but you're right, though. This don't apply to y'all, but I'm not a lawyer. But yeah, you may want to take this and go get you a lawyer. So everyone that has a levy, got this stuff levy, reach out to me. Now, what's the definition of an employer under Section 3401? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Hold on. Let's get to it. Now, what does it say? 26 USC 3401 defines the term wages for tax purposes. It includes all remunerations for services performed by an employee for their employer, except for specific exceptions in the code. Now, that would be, okay, that applies to me. But look at here. D, the term employer means any person for whom an individual performs any service of whatever nature as the employee of such person. It is not necessary that the service be continuing at the time the stages paid in order for the status to paid in order that the status of employer exists. I know, yes, some of you are like, my dang, you ain't really saying nothing. Now watch this. Watch this. Now, if we get here, I'm not gonna get into all this. We're gonna get down to wages. We're gonna keep going. All right. Now you talking about employer, employee. Now I'm not gonna get through all this. I think all y'all Y'all can look up this section right here. It's 3121. But I was trying to paint a picture, but I don't want to keep y'all too long. So I'm going to get straight to the meat and potato. Oh, whoa, excuse me. Watch this. Now, every one of you that has a job or works for someone, you think that you're in a trade or business. Now watch this. You think that you're in the trade or business. So you're like, hey, I'm in the trade or business. Now, section 26 USC 7701, number 14. The term taxpayer means any person subject to any internal revenue tax. You see how vague they are with that? That's not saying your job, my job. It's just whoever's subject to it, you got to pay the taxes. We're not going to tell you who is, though. Oh, the withholding agent means any person required to deduct and withhold any tax under sections 1441, 1442, 1443, and 1461. All this deals with non-resident aliens, not you and I. Unless they have us down as a non-resident alien, but it doesn't apply to us. But let's get to the trade of business. Now, the term trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. So, when they say they can levy the accrued salary or wages of any officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, that's the jobs they're talking about. That's the jobs they're talking about. Those are the jobs they're talking about. Now, let me get you here. Give you this last one. And matter of fact, let's get back to it because and if you get my services, I'm going to show you how to correct those erroneous 1099 reportings to the IRS. And I'm going to show you how to correct the W-2 because it's called bad payer data. The IRS says you must report accurate and correct tax information. If you're not liable for the taxes in the beginning, we have to correct it. And this was the basis for the refunds. No cap, not lying. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. Charger's about to die. I apologize. My laptop's about to die. I did not know. I apologize. I wasn't prepared. I'm going to grab my charger. Stay by. Don't go anywhere because this is big stuff. This can start freeing people this tax year. No cap. Thank you. Apologize about that, y'all. Had to take care of something too. So let's get back to what he is saying.
Stripe, PayPal, any of those things. If you get one, you might have to file a Schedule C. Or if you get a Form 1099 NEC, which stands for non-employee compensation, it means somebody's paying you and you are not an employee, then you might also be filing a Schedule C. So back to the example, we can see that on the Schedule C, Memphis lists his name, social security number, and he lists the principal business or profession. So what did he do? He was a rideshare driver. So if you do something different, you're a barber, a beautician.
Right there. Form W-2 and the statutory employee box in that form is checked. Let me ask you all a question. This is how I know a lot of people don't read. They just go by what other people tell them, and that they've been doing that their whole lives. Now ask yourself a question. If you look on your tax transcripts, right? Everybody got an IRS account. Look at your tax transcripts. I think wage investment record of account. It's going to have a box that says statutory employee, right? And notice how for 98% of Americans, the statutory employee box is not checked, right? Notice how that box is not checked. Now, look at this right here.
You
look at part 1 down here. It says gross receipts from sales. See instructions for line 1 and check the box if this income was reported to you on Form W-2 and the statutory employee box on that form was checked. So if that statutory employee box was not checked, why are you reporting it? So why does he have that $62,816? That's just free taxes. That's just free taxes, free donations from the IRS to the IRS. Now I'm going to look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, where is it at? All right, so let me just do it from here. All right. Now, the Bishopper ruling, the Supreme Court, this is what they stated regarding the 16th Amendment. It says, we are of opinion, however, that the confusion is not inherent, but rather arises from the conclusion that the 16th Amendment provides for a hitherto unknown power of taxation. That is a power to levy an income tax, which, although direct, should not be subject to the regulations of apportionment applicable to all other direct taxes. And the far-reaching effect of this erroneous assumption will be made clear by generalizing the many contentions advanced in argument to support it. Now, basically what they're saying is, under the 16th Amendment, hold on one second. The IRS states that the 16th Amendment authorized an indirect tax not subject to apportionment, while any other direct tax will have to be subject to apportionment. See, it's a smokescreen. Because I read you at the beginning what Congress said. An income tax is an excise tax, and it should be enforced as such. And if your job is not an excise, your income is not taxable, meaning you don't have to pay taxes on your income, meaning stop reporting the income like he has you doing right here. See that 62,816? And I want the brother to respond back and we can go live. He brings his facts, statistics, data. I'm going to bring my facts, the statistics, and data. And we can have a nice, cordial understanding. I have no problem with it. But once again, go ahead, brother.
You make videos, you're a social media influencer, you're going to put that there. Now, the next thing to know is that you're going to enter a code in B. Now, what this is called is the NAICS code. If you want to look up your NAICS code for your particular activity, then just head over to from a separate location. You would list that. You're going to put your accounting method. Now, most people are going to put cash because that means that you report your income when you earn it, when you get paid. They're going to ask you, did you materially participate in the operations of this business? Most people.
No. Wait, hold on. Why did you gloss over the fact? Hold on now. Why did you gloss over the fact that it's more profitable and accurately reflects the profitability of a business when you use the accrual? Why you leave that out? Why you leave that out? That's big. No, Diddy. Why you leave that out? Why you leave that out? Like the movie. What you hit me for? What you hit me for? Man, she ain't say nothing. What you hit me for? She love that fool more than me. What you hit me for? That's what I'm like. Why you leave that out? Yeesh. Let's go, brother.
Yes, because you're actively participating. And if you started or acquired this business in 2022, you're going to check yes. And then did you make any payments in 2022 that will require you to file forms 1099? So for most people, they're just simply receiving money. But if you have independent contractors up underneath you or sole proprietors underneath you that are doing work and you got to issue them a 1099 because you paid them more than $600, then you would check yes. Otherwise, you just check no. So what we're going to do is we start with the gross receipts or the sales. So we see that Memphis earned $62,816.
Oh, it shouldn't. You don't even file it. You don't even file the form. That's about you don't even file the form because your income is not taxable. They don't need to know it. They tell you if you file it, we're going to assume that your job is an excise. So for everybody that this the other form I wanted to tell you about to the levy. If you had erroneous levies against your account, which was done without authority, it says it right here. Now this was from it says it right here. Now regard to the levy may be made upon the accrued salary or wages of any officer, employer, or elected official of the United States or the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of the United States or the District of Columbia, by servicing a notice of levy on the employee of such officer, employee, or elected official, does not provide authority to levy wages of private citizens in the private sector. The omission of this section from IRS Form 668W may be misleading to some employers, as you have suggested. So they took that part out of the levy form because they know it doesn't apply to us. But the employer doesn't know it. They think it applies to us. This is why we got to correct the W-2 federal income tax reported, Social Security, Medicaid, all that withheld. We got to correct the data under penalty of perjury, under a sworn statement. Why do you think that no taxes are final unless it's under a sworn statement? When they report those W-2s to the government or to the IRS, your employer doesn't do it under the penalty of perjury. What makes the tax true? When you confirm it, just like he's telling you to file it, under the penalty of perjury on your 1040. or whatever form you use. Why do you think you got to file it under the 1040? Under the penalty of perjury. Now, let me show you. Now, do y'all know how when you sign your 1040, it has that little affirmation part under the penalty of perjury, yada, yada, yada. This right here. This is the very first 1040 after the 16th Amendment was passed. Watch this. This is the affirmation. Oh, more reason that I know what I'm talking about. This is from the House Congressional Record of March 27, 1943. Treasury Department Legislative Draftsman F. Morse Hubbard. He said, the amendment, 16th, made it possible to bring investment income within the scope of general income tax, but did not change the character of the tax. It is still fundamentally an excise or duty. Now, here is this affirmation on the original 1040 after the 16th Amendment, 1916. I hereby certify that the following is true and faithful statement of the gains, profits, or income of blank, of the blank, of blank, in the county of blank, in the state of blank, whether derived from any kind of property, rents, interest, dividends, salaries, or from any profession, trade, employment, or vocation, or from any other source, whatever, from the first day of January to the 31st day of December. They're like cicadas. The 31st day of December, 1862, both days inclusive, and subject to a income tax under the excise laws of the United States. You see that? You see that? You see that? Under the excise laws. Your income does not derive from activities, and they're not connected to a trade or business under 26 USC 7701. Nor does your income derive from a privilege granted by the United States government. So you all are engaging in an unprivileged activity and receiving and enjoying the fruits therefrom is a right. They cannot tax you on the right to earn a living. This is, I'm going to read this quote. The right to follow any of the common occupations of life is an inalienable right. It has been well said that the property which every man has is his own labor, as it is the original foundation of all other property. So it is the most sacred and inviolable. The patrimony of the poor man lies in the strength and dexterity of his own hands, and to hinder his employing this strength and dexterity in what manner he thinks proper, without injury to his neighbor, is a plain violation of this most sacred property. Now, this is Supreme Court of Tennessee, 1960. Since the right to receive incomes or earnings is a right belonging to every person, this right cannot be taxed as a privilege. I mean, I could just go on and on with the documents. Matter of fact, let me see if I can Matter of fact, let me see if I can. This person, after all the information I was telling you about, this was in, putting their claims into the IRS. This was all the erroneous federal income tax withheld based on what I'm saying. See, this, what he's telling you, you're gonna be paying taxes. Ain't no doubt, ain't no shit, ain't no doubt about that. Yeah, it's paying taxes with this dude. You do not want to pay taxes on income that it's not even taxable? Makes no sense. But if you see right here, now let me remove me. This don't do no justice at all. Absolutely no justice. So let's get back to the brother. I'm gonna call him the brother.
Driving for rideshare. And if he were doing something else where he had cost of goods sold, so let's say that you are a beautician or a hairstylist and you have chemicals or you have product that you're buying to do your client's work, then you would list the cost of goods sold associated with the sales. He doesn't have any, so we're just going to continue. Now, right here, you're going to list all of the expenses, and it says enter expenses for the business, and anything that basically you use for your business, 9 times out of 10 is going to be deducted. Now, if you are looking,
now I would say this: all this income, all this right here, no. But if you want to list your expenses, you can list your expenses if you want to. But all this really, you shouldn't even be filing this form. But if you want to, you can list your expenses. But all this right here, but you open yourself up having to report income if you list your expenses. So all this right here just need to be zero, just nothing. You don't have a job that's connected to a trade or business, have that under the United States excise tax laws. I'm trying to get you to understand. You don't, your income is not taxable unless your income comes from an excise, a government grant or privilege.
for all the different expenses that you can deduct, I recommend checking out IRS Publication 535, which is linked in the blog post, and it's also linked here in the description. You're going to deduct your advertising, car and truck expenses.
Why'd you tell them Publication 544, 529, 520, 515, 436, 438, 4681? Why are you leaving all the good stuff out?
Which we'll go over. So if you are a rideshare driver, you're definitely going to have car and truck expenses. If you are using a vehicle in your business and you're self-employed, then you are potentially going to have car and truck. Deductible meals. So we can see Memphis had 100.
That's accurate. That's accurate. That's accurate.
$143 in deductible meals. Now, to note, for 2021 and 2022 only, businesses can generally deduct the full cost of business-related food and beverages purchased from a restaurant. Otherwise, the limit is usually 50%. That's only for 2021 and 22 as a result of the pandemic. You know, I'm been doing this for forever, so I'm used to only deducting 50%. But needless to say, Memphis had a...
You've been doing what? Paying reported taxable income that is not reportable under the IRS and the United States income excise tax laws. You've been doing that forever? Sheesh.
$143 worth of meals. And really what this was just like water and, you know, mints and other little things that he had purchased for his passengers. And then you have other expenses. So when we go to the second page of the Schedule C, we can see that his other expenses were telephone. So he paid $1,872.
None of that crap matters.
That year to have a telephone because, you know, he's got to have the app and everything in order to go ahead and do that. Now, real quick, we're going to hop back and we're going to look at this number right here, $16,718 worth of car and truck expenses. Now, the sheet that we're looking at, sweet car, and he put it in service 1/1/2022. And we can see that he drove 26,000 miles, sweet car, and he put it in service. Really something that's going to be sent to the IRS. It's a worksheet that is used to help you determine your car and truck expenses.
No, it's not 4562.
Now, there, we can see that from Memphis, he has a 1967 Ford Shelby GT 500 sweet car, and he put it in service 1/1/2022. And we can see that he drove 26,000 miles for business, and he drove another 6,549 doing other stuff. So this could be...
Why didn't he show the 4562? That's where you get up to $1,800,000 in deductions for your property that you place a business service of your business. You tripping.
Hanging out with Sway and Kip and all of his friends. Go, and when you stop, it will stop the trip. It'll record everything. And then at the very end of the year, it'll print out this nice, pretty report that you can go ahead and you can give to your accountant, or you can use when you prepare your own tax return, listing out what miles were driven for business and personal and the appropriate percentage. So we'll go ahead here and we can look at the expenses that he had. So first thing is depreciation. The one thing to know about depreciation is basically that if you're using a vehicle for a business or any asset for business, the IRS is going to say that over the course of time, that asset is going to get worn down. So what they do is they give you an expense for the wear down or the breakdown of that asset. So in this particular case, Memphis has a car, he paid for it, so he gets to depreciate it. And his depreciation deduction was $3,100. We can see that he paid for garage rent, gas, and...
I'm sorry. I can't listen to this dude no more. Because it doesn't matter, because the income is not taxable anyway. The income is not taxable anyway. It's not taxable anyway. So this is what it is, y'all. I mean, this is just another one, another example. Taxes and reporting income that is not taxable, you can do so. But if you want to start really getting your freedom and stop reporting taxes that is not taxable and get a refund of all the erroneous withheld taxes, Social Security, Medicaid from the past 3 years and beyond refunded back to you as mandate, and I got the actual law from Congress that says they have to refund it back to you. That's black and white. I got it. I think I've been successful. I got it. Reach out to Thomas Legacy 603gmail.com. I'm trying to tell you, this dude is going to lead you up Schitt's Creek keep you up shit's creek and keep you a slave to a voluntary system where your income is not taxable from the beginning unless your income derives from a government grant or privilege. Unless your income is that, your income is not taxable. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just a regular guy that does a lot of research, investigative research, and I know what I am talking about. With that being said, I want to thank you all for being here, for watching. I know it's a lot to take in, but if you need my services, please reach out and we'll work something out. All right, y'all. I want to thank y'all.